You can protect metal with a process called bluing. Should you blue your carbon steel cookware? Hi, I'm Jed. This is Cook Culture. So for those of you that know this channel, you'll know that I'm buddies with the cookware YouTuber Uncle Scott. I would like to congratulate Uncle Scott and his family on the birth of their new baby girl. Okay, bluing carbon steel cookware. I get asked about this continuously. In this short video, we're going to cover what is bluing, why would you blue, and should you blue your carbon steel cookware. Bluing metal, or making the metal blue, is the simple concept of making the cookware non-reactive, as in stopping it from rusting. There are several fairly detailed methods on how to blue metal, all different types of metal, but today I'm specifically talking about carbon steel cookware, making it blue at an at-home process. So this is a simple process you can do in your own kitchen. So bluing iron cookware, carbon steel cookware, is a simple process of heating the iron to a point that it starts to change color. It'll go from like a darker gray color to a blue color, and if you keep going, it will start getting different colors, but you're looking for a blue color. And what this is doing is that the heat is reacting with some moisture in the air, and on the surface of the exposed cookware, it is turning that light outer surface to an iron oxide. So it is basically oxidizing it, but it's like burning that iron at that high heat onto the pan, or reacting at the pan's surface, and it is creating that iron oxide layer. So being that it is already oxidized, sealed, you can't then rust it. So that's the idea, is that you're creating that overall iron oxide layer on the outside of the carbon steel, and then whatever sort of water and iron mixture with oxygen isn't going to rust because it's already oxidized. So bluing carbon steel starts at around 550 degrees and goes well into 700 and 800 degree Fahrenheit. You want to make sure that you keep it within this range as you blue, because people that know this topic much better than I do warn against going higher than that and creating more of maybe a light yellowy sort of color or an orange color, where you're going to be superheating the metal and you can actually weaken the quality of the metal, and that can become problematic in the future once that pan cools and you start using it. So as I mentioned, creating the blue color on your pan is creating that patina that will stop it from rusting, right? So rusting is bad and blue is good, right? So bluing is completely logical, but it is not 100% necessary. When you're using a carbon steel pan, you need to season that pan to create a working surface, if you will, like a non-stick type surface. So you are sealing that pan anyways. So bluing a pan is a little bit redundant, and creating a workable surface that you're going to do with a fat and heat process, regular traditional seasoning, is what you're going to need regardless. So also, and a huge also here, this is a big issue with bluing, is that you've got to get your pan very, very hot. And there's a solid chance that you could warp that pan if for whatever reason it's not heated slowly, or something goes on with the heating process, specifically using induction. It's required really to do an even sort of bluing all over the pan to use gas. Induction isn't going to give you, in my experience, isn't going to give you a good finish in the bluing. And so you're using gas to get your finish, which could work perfectly fine, but it could also warp your pan, which is a serious consideration. Once you've got a warped pan, it's pretty much warped, and you can try to fix it somewhat, but you're going to have a misshaped pan. So bluing is a seasoning. It's one layer of protecting your pan. And in essence, that's what seasoning is. When you season your carbon steel cookware, it's initially not making it nonstick. You're seasoning it to protect the pan. That's what your seasoning does. You build that seasoning, you do it correctly, you use it the right way, and you're going to become pretty much nonstick with that pan, which is wonderful. That's what we're all trying to get to, that wonderful point in nirvana where your pan works basically like a nonstick pan. So if you do blue your pan, consider it your first layer of seasoning and start to build a traditional seasoning from that point. But hey, Asian woks are blued, like a ton of them that you see in restaurants or see online or see people using on YouTube. They've blued their pans. So what's the deal? Why would you blue those ones and not other ones? Seasoning a large wok can take some serious effort to do it correctly on a traditional sense. bluing it all over and creating that heat to create that outer coating of protectant is a logical step. That makes a ton of sense. Blue a wok, keep it from rusting anywhere all over that large, especially if it's 14, 16 inches in diameter, that's a large wok. So blue it and that'll stop that rusting. And then you can season the working surface, and as you use it, the seasoning will build and build and build. So that's a lot of logic there. But for a regular fry pan at home, it just could be an extra step that is unneeded. So to blue or not to blue? That is the question. So bluing is totally fine. If you want to blue, go for it. It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to be hard for you to do it. It may look fantastic. There's lots of reasons why you want to do it. But if you're concerned that you should be bluing just to get a great nonstick finish, like a good seasoned nonstick finish, that's unnecessary. You do not need to blue your pans initially to create an excellent nonstick finish. It's not going to be a benefit going forward. If you have blued, it is going to maybe be that extra layer of rust resistance, which is a great thing. But if you aren't bluing, don't stress it. Just start seasoning and start cooking. So I hope this topic of bluing has been successful for you. If you have any great experience with bluing, if you think that bluing is an absolute must-have and you got to do it, I'd love to hear about it. I want to know more about it. And people that have blued other types of metal, this video isn't so much about that, but if you do have any other neat experience in bluing, not so much chemical bluing or salt bath bluing, but really just from a heat bluing, it'd be great to hear about it. So comments and questions below. Thanks so much.